Okay, so the second phase of this process is the problem analysis intervention. And that's when we talk about options like positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, the procedure overall, the process. I don't like to use punishment actually, but I mean, obviously that's something we can talk about later. Positive reinforcement is, do you know what that is?
Not really.
Okay. Positive always being in ABA, being it's not good or bad, it's the addition of something. Usually it's a stimulus. Reinforcement being think more, like you want to see that again. So positive, you add something, reinforcement, you want to see that behavior again. You want it to happen again. Negative reinforcement being you take something away because you want to see that behavior increase. In the case of your classroom, your students are they're split up into groups?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's a good thing. Okay, so there's another process that I like. I haven't done much work with schools, but and this would be good for me to practice too. There's something called a dependent group contingency, which is where the members of a group rely on one member to gain access to reinforcement. So, and the class clown kind of thing, I'm pretty certain that that's an attention-seeking thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's being reinforced by the laughter, by the attention that he's getting. Mm-hmm. He's being positively reinforced by it, and that's why it's not going away. So, in a dependent group contingency, the group would rely on one member to gain access to reinforcement. Token economies are another thing that I like to implement too. The token economy is, a fixed ratio of however many tokens they have to get to gain access to reinforcement. Typically, you start them off on maybe on a low number so that they have an opportunity to gain access to reinforcement, and then you kind of gradually increase the amount of tokens that they need to gain access to reinforcement. In a dependent group contingency, since they're already divided into groups, I would say that in the case of Stannis.
Yes.
Okay. How old is Stannis?
He's 5.
Okay. So I would say in his case, make his group dependent on him. So say he wants to gain access to reinforcement, he has to comply in order for the whole group to gain a token. If we implement a token economy, then in order for his group to gain access to a token, they would rely on his good behavior.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and since the other groups are also the rest of the class is also split into groups, I would say that, and this is where the negative reinforcement comes into play. By removing their attention, if he gets up and sharpens his pencil and they don't laugh, I would reinforce that group. And I would make sure that they get a token. Make sure they know that him getting up and being disruptive isn't going to be reinforced by those groups anymore. So say he gets up, sharpens his pencil while you're talking, the groups that do not laugh gain access to a token.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He gets up and does that, his group does not get access to a token.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. What kinds of things are they willing to work for, do you think? Or in fact, you don't even need to know. You can just straight up ask them. It's called that's a preference assessment. What are you guys willing to work for when you get your tokens that I can give you? I don't know, maybe it could be, what do you think?
Little toys.
Yeah, maybe. What about something that they can enjoy as a group?
More free time.
Yeah.
More recess.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
Instead of them on their own, they get an extra 5 minutes.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. So say the group that gets access to all the tokens first, and we can also talk about how many tokens they need to gain access to their desired item, which would be, I think 5 minutes of
extra recess.
Extra recess is a good idea. And any group that gains access to, let's call it, I'd probably start off with on a fixed ratio of 5. FR5 schedule, which is they get 5 tokens, they get 5 minutes. And then gradually, say that works, then we'll move it up to a fixed ratio of 10. And gradually, 10's a good place to end up. So they gain 10, access to 10 tokens. They get an extra 10 minutes of recess, 5 or 10 minutes, or however we work it out. But I think that'd be a good place to start, because it's definitely, I'm pretty sure that is attention seeking. Class clowns, they enjoy being on stage. They enjoy making people laugh. Yeah. They enjoy having the attention. They enjoy being on there. And I know I've got one of my kids is a class clown, and I've had to practice some ABA with my own kids too. Yeah.
How effective is it?
Depends on the situation. Depends on the individual. Yeah, it just depends.
But this will help with Stannis in my classroom.
I believe so.
Because it sounds like a good idea.
I believe so. If we implement the plan this way, and it is in fact attention seeking, which I'm pretty sure it is, then we should see results. And the idea with the dependent group contingency is that, say they don't get reinforced because of him.
Okay.
Then he's gonna go from being the funny class clown to the group's bad guy.
Okay.
And I think that's better than any form of punishment, because there's also timeouts and things like that. I don't like to do that. Timeout, and there's inclusive timeout, and there's different types of timeouts, but I'd rather use positive reinforcement than type of punishment, if that works. And if that doesn't work, in 2 weeks we'll come back and talk about it again, and we'll go from there. Do you have any other questions about it?
Yeah. So what is this called again, where they earn their tokens?
That's a token economy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a token economy.
So it's something that I make in the classroom, and then they can see it. So they're aware of how many tokens they have.
There's something called a preference assessment, where you can ask them if they don't want to do extra recess. Well, I don't know many kids who don't want extra recess time, but if that's not something that they're willing to work for, then find something that is. Another thing that a token economy is called is the store.
Yes, we have different activities in the classroom that they like to have more time on that they don't, because we have to continue onto the actual school classroom work.
Okay, so that's something to work for.
So I could say free time, also extra. Yeah.
As long as the reinforcement is delivered immediately.
Okay.
And with the token economy, I guess the movie day is kind of hard to set up if the reinforcement has to be delivered immediately. Although a token is a conditioned reinforcer, which is that's been paired with another reinforcer. So they gain access to the token, and they know that they'll have an unconditioned reinforcer waiting for them once they get however many we're going to have them work for, and that being the recess. Extra recess.
Well, we don't do much movie days, but we do have iPads in the classroom.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a STARS program.
Okay.
And a lot of kids like to stay on it more time, but I have to get them off of it. So is that a good idea?
Yeah, that's it. iPads are always good.
Okay.
iPads are good too.
And it still helps them out. They don't realize that they collect points on doing their STARS program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that's a good thing to do too. Just ask them.
Okay.
And the groups don't always have to be working for the same thing either. Each group could find something else that they like to work for.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions?
No.
Okay.
That sounds really good.
Okay, good. Well, Mrs. Silva, thank you for taking time to meet with me on a Saturday. I really appreciate it. $10 minutes.